front of you. With that, if there are any questions, we do have about 100 foreclosures in the city now. That's a little fluid, and that some go off and some go on. Unfortunately, there seems to be still an upswing in the amount of those, and they require quite a bit of attention.
Questions, council? Any further questions?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Jerry?
I just wonder if Steve could give us an idea for the people that listen or might read what the nuisances are, some examples.
Well, by and large, most of these are weed abatement. You know, that folks aren't cutting their grass. You can have your grass up to 8 inches in height in Muscatine before it's a violation of our code. After 8 inches, it's subject to mowing by the city, unless there are separate arrangements made ahead of time for one reason or another. But by and large, most of these, again, demolition's a little different. Some of these could involve property cleanups where somebody's moved out and we've had to remove debris from the property, board up windows, those kinds of things. I don't have that breakout with me tonight, Councilmember Lang, but the bulk of these, with no surprise at the rainy May and June we had, are weed related.
The questions, Jerry? You still?
I do understand there's quite a bit of work time involved here, but this is contracted out, so it does not affect city worker time.
Other than the nuisance officer that has to go check on the property and then turn around and write the letters and then also turn around and check on the property. So I would say it's not only, there's not just contractor time.
There are repeated visits by the city staff as a part of this whole effort, and you're right. We have an initial visit to determine non-compliance. A letter is sent out that involves staff time, mailing costs. We go back after the 5-day period to check if the property hasn't been mowed. That's a separate visit. Then we have to coordinate with the contractor to go mow, and we usually make sure that it's still that way when the contractor shows on the job to mow. Then we go back when it's completed to make sure it's satisfactory. Then we process the bill for payment. So there's a number of steps involving staff.
It makes sense. We have to go out and identify these properties of that time, but I was referring to the actual taking care of the nuisances.
Yes, that service is contracted. That's correct.
Good, Jerry. Any other questions or comments, council?
I just comment that it's all part, it's a long process, continuous to help improve the appearance of our community.
Yes.
It's nonstop.
Anyone else, council? This will be a roll call. Phil?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Bob Bynum?
Aye.
And Osama?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, cost estimate, and setting the bid opening date for the Cedar Street Culver extensions. The Cedar Street renovation project has been divided into 3 phases, with the first phase being culvert extensions near the Wood Creek and Stonebrook subdivision entrances. This phase must be completed prior to the beginning of phase 2, which will be water, electricity, gas, and telephone utility relocations. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So moved, Your Honor.
Moved by Jerry,
Second, Your Honor.
second by Diane. Discussion? Jerry?
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Bob Bynum.
Aye.
Osama.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Phil.
Aye.
And Mark.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Presented for council's consideration is a resolution accepting temporary and permanent easements required for the completion of Phase 1 of the Cedar Street reconstruction project. In order to complete the work, 11 property easements must be acquired by the city, and negotiations to complete easements have been conducted with the property owners, and they are now being submitted for city council's approval. Is there a motion to approve the resolution as submitted?
So moved.
And moved by Scott,
Second, Your Honor.
second by Phil. Discussion.
Yes.
Yes, Jerry.
In the list of easements, there's an area called Special Features Information, Trees and Riparian. What does that mean?
John Lutz, city engineer. The riparian is more like brushy areas. They're low-lying that form cover, and no significant trees, mainly just lower, smaller, brushy trees. Trees are larger trees in your yard that you look specifically at and you attach a value to it.
And these are all at the cost of the city because they're not on the actual private properties, then, is that?
All of the easement here is on private property. We're requiring easements to do our work on their private property.
So we have to do that part
We
of
have to
it.
take the trees down.
City cost then.
Yeah.
Cut the weeds or whatever, brush.
In addition to the city is going to have the cost of taking the trees down, this is the cost of purchasing the right to take the trees down.
Thank you, John.
That's it, Jerry. Okay, anyone else, council? Questions or comments? Anyone?
Thank you, Osama.
Anyone else? All right, thanks very much, John. This is, of course, a roll call. Scott?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Bob Bynum?
Aye.
And Osama.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Presented for City Council's consideration is a resolution adjusting sewage rates for private sewer system waste. The Water Pollution Control Plant currently receives this waste from licensed haulers, and this requires that a number of hours be spent directing the program, testing samples, and periodically pulling and repairing the pumps. Staff is recommending that fees be adjusted from the current 0.01 cent, 1 cent per gallon to 0.03 per gallon. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted?
So move, Your Honor.
Moved by Phil, is it? Second, Diane? Discussion?
Yeah, do we have any information on what the difference in numbers will be, what we're taking in now versus what effect this will have?
Roger, you want to take that one? I don't have specific information with me, but we've been looking at it for the last 2 to 3 years. In the past, income from this has been about $6,000 to $10,000 for a fiscal year. After the floods, especially in Cedar Rapids, a lot of the companies took their stuff to Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids, when they got flooded out, the plant was closed, and we had people calling to see if they could come our way. They've liked our prices because they're cheap, and they've continued with us. We've had a couple ethanol plant people, and so it's become significantly more in the last few years. As I said, it was $6,000 to $10,000 for a number of years in that range. We had in 2008 and 9, we were up to $54,000 that we took in. That period of time, for 2 years, we took in over $50,000, up to, I think, as much as $73,000 for that. So we've got a lot of interest in it. It's not something we're going to get rich on, but we also we take leachate from the landfill itself, and that's the majority of our pumping that we do once it gets to the plant. So it's wear and tear on the pumps, and we're getting to the point that we're going to have to start replacing pumps and doing some of those things. So going from 1 cent to 3 cents, we've checked around the rest of the state. That's still really reasonable amount. There's some places are charging much more than that, but we don't want to start driving people away at this point. We want to kind of gradually work into that, and so this year we're back down. Our big one was a company with Iowa Renewable Energy, and they were with an ethanol plant. Now they backed off considerably, so that has really dropped back. So we're back down into for this last fiscal year, to the 23,000 to 30,000 range that we're going to get him back into. So it shouldn't be a great problem for our small haulers. We have a lot of the small haulers around town, and going from 1 cent to 3 cent, we've kind of already warned them about that. We haven't had anybody really complain about it too much, so this is the time to do it.
Could you consider even a little bit higher? It looks like we're still really on the...
I think we can, yes, but as I said, we've looked at it for the last couple of years, but we want to gradually do that, and we don't want to hurt the little guys that are trying to make a living out there, and they have to keep just raising their rates to their customers too, and it's just everybody's facing increased costs, and it's not something we're getting rich off of, but we're able to handle it, and we've got that service. We get a lot of campers. We don't charge them anything. You can come bring your camper down and dump that at any time, and we don't charge people for that at all. So.
Any other questions or comments, council? Anybody? Thank you very much, Raj. This, of course, is a roll call. Phil?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Bob Bynum?
Aye.
Sama?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And Mark?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request from the Water Pollution Control Department to upgrade SCADA. Upgrade SCADA systems for 5 existing lift stations. 2 quotes were received, with a low quote from ICS Haley Ruff in the amount of $90,089. However, staff is recommending the quote from Electric Pump in the amount of $96,500 be approved because, one, all the other stations' SCADA components are the same as this quote. Number two, there are existing spare parts. Number three, stations will not have to be run manually during the changeover. 4 new extra interface modules will be required. And 5, the plant will utilize Simon's technology, which staff has already been trained to operate and use. There is $120,000 budgeted for this upgrade, which includes a carryover of $30,000 from 2010 and through 2011. From the 2010-2011 budget, as well as $90,000 budgeted for 2011-2012. Is there a motion to approve the request as submitted?
So moved.
Mark? I didn't hear you, Mark.
Second, Your Honor.
Seconded by Scott. Discussion.
I just had a question, Mayor, whether this, obviously, we're not taking the low bid, and we have reasons for that, but is there any court in the land that's going to slap us silly when we do this?
I think Roger's adequately laid out reasons to go with the alternate bidder. I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah. Just don't want to get us in trouble.
Anyone else, counsel? With a comment? This is the voice vote. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0. Presented for City Council's consideration is a request from the Water Pollution Control Department to repair the crane bucket at the Papoose Lift Station. In April 2011, City Council took action to authorize the removal and replacement of the crane at Papoose Lift Station. At that time, the bucket for the crane was not included as part of that project. A quote has been received from Cone Cranes in the amount of $12,000 to repair the existing bucket. It is staff's recommendation a purchase order be issued to Cone Cranes in an amount not to exceed $12,000 for these repairs. Is there